The Olympus OM Zuiko 21mm f3.5 was made in Japan and first introduced on the market in 1972. There are three versions of this lens. The first version is recognized by the letter G in front of Zuico, and since the letter G is the seventh letter in the alphabet, this means that there are 7 elements as part of its optical design. The second version, which is what I have, was introduced in 1979 and has the letters MC on the nameplate, indicating that this lens has multi-coated elements. And the last version of this lens, which is also multi-coated, has the simplest nameplate without any letters before or after Zuico. The optical design of this lens consists of 7 elements and 7 groups. It accepts filters with 49mm diameter. Aperture ranges from f3.5 to f16 with click stops in between. The diaphragm is made of 6 rounded aperture blades. Focus throw is quite short, approximately 90 degrees. On the back, this lens has Olympus OM mount. I use just a cheap OM to NEX adapter, which allows me to use this lens on my Sony camera. This lens weighs 190 grams. Minimum focusing distance from your subject to your film plane or sensor is only 20 centimeters. The Olympus OM Zuiko 21mm f3.5 is an excellent ultra-wide-angle lens, and one of its many great features is its incredibly compact design. This lens is so small that it's almost the same size as the adapter I use to attach it to my camera, so bringing it along with me on any adventure is as easy as can be, since its lightweight and tiny size make it a great travel companion. Its build quality, as you can expect from a vintage Olympus lens, is simply superb. Every part of this lens is beautifully made with an all-metal construction and perfectly machined parts. This lens is a little jewel. Even though it's been over 40 years since it was manufactured, everything still works incredibly well and focusing is as smooth as can be. When it comes to image quality, this lens does not disappoint. Center sharpness, even wide open, is quite amazing. And even though ultra-wide-angle lenses are not famous for their bokeh, this one actually produces some really nice out-of-focus blur. As you stop it down, sharpness increases even more, and the lens reaches peak performance by f8, with corner-to-corner sharpness and excellent resolution across the frame. Vignetting is apparent when the lens is shot wide open, and it slowly diminishes as you stop it down, but it never completely goes away. But removing the vignetting is a very easy fix in post if this look is not your cup of tea. Since I have the multi-coated version of this lens, I expected some nice colors, and this Zuico definitely delivered. The colors that come out of it are rich and vibrant with excellent saturation and contrast. They're vivid and have beautiful tones. I personally love the colors that come out of this vintage multi-coated Zuico. When it comes to flare and ghosting, I didn't really have any problems, but if you point this lens towards the sun, you will see some minor ghosting and a funky circular flare as in this example. Barrel distortion, as can be expected from a vintage ultra-wide-angle lens, is visible and becomes more apparent as you get closer to your subject. There are some lateral chromatic aberrations that appear, especially if you're shooting backlit subjects, but for the most part I didn't have any issues with them since they're mostly visible only if you zoom in on the image. I love this little ultra-wide-angle lens and I really enjoyed shooting with it. It's incredibly compact, its build quality is some of the best I've ever seen, its colors are gorgeous and its sharpness is fantastic. And even though it has a few little imperfections, they definitely don't diminish my appreciation for its many positive qualities. I also love its super short minimum focusing distance, which allows me to get very close to my subject and create some really fun shots. I'm a big fan of vintage ultra-wide-angle lenses, and the Zuico is without a doubt one of my favorites. So if you end up trying it out, I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here at Vintage Optics.